Welcome into episode 7 of Cashing the Check. I'm the brains of this operation, Tyler Asher from the Small Business Development Center.
And I am the heart of this operation, Tiffany Anton from the Biz Foundry.
Do you know what your blood type is? Do you know what kind of blood
O positive.
Oh, me too. I am O positive.
Oh, look at that. Do you know that we're the universal recipients, I think?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
O
negative is the universal donor.
Yeah.
Are you a blood donor?
I am a blood donor.
Awesome. Do you go like every 56 days?
No, not that much.
I am a platelet donor, which means that they take out all of the blood, they separate out the things, and then they keep the platelets and they put the rest back in your body. Takes about 2 hours.
Can you equivalent that into like business terms?
That's
a tough one, isn't it?
But
you are the heart of this operation. So.
I am the heart, which is kind of like the marketing part. So I throw it all out there, but people take the marketing pieces away.
Nice job on the fly.
This was not pre-rehearsed.
No, that was awesome.
As a true PR person,
okay.
I can kind of think on my feet a bit.
Let's just jump right into Ducks
in a row. Quack, quack.
Oh my God.
You're not gonna get me out of that. So, Ducks in a Row are this is our segment where we get to tell jokes, business jokes. Sometimes they're not. We got a little Elsa not business.
Let
joke.
it go.
Last time we got a little tangent, which happens a lot with us.
Yeah,
we like
tangents. People need tangents every once in a while.
So here's my first one-liner. The man who created autocorrect has died. Restaurant in peace. I hate autocorrect is the worst.
Oh, it's terrible.
There was a one time where somebody I knew sent the girl's last name was Spack, and it was Caitlin Spack, and it auto-corrected to Caitlin Spank Me in a business email, which is so inappropriate. There's been texts where I send, and it's like a kissy face, and I need to put a smiley face. Like, what do you... Listen, maybe we just do this for Ducks in a Row. What are the worst autocorrects that you've had?
Oh, gosh.
In business senses, where you're like, oh, how do I undo this?
I think if it does happen, you just have to send a quick email. Well, let me go back. I think that's why it's so important to proofread before you hit send.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Like I'm
a quick texter, and I just.
And then I go back and I'm like, oh, that is terrible.
Oh,
what was
no,
that thing? Yeah.
I sent a kissy vet. Like, that is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, or a poop emoji or something that you're like, oh my gosh, like, no.
What are you thinking?
So this is not autocorrect, but this is a awkward work story. So last year, we're at home a lot during the pandemic, and Jeff Brown and I are back in the office, and we have an intern there, and I'm trying to get the mailbox key to work, and I'm like, is this the right key? And he goes, what's that, hun? And I was alarmed, shocked, shook to my core. I do not need my 50-something-year-old boss calling me hun. The intern, she turned red, and he goes, I've been at home with my wife too much. I'm so sorry.
I do that sometimes too. I'm like, oh, thanks, darling. I sincerely appreciate. And I don't mean anything by it. It's just a natural. Maybe it's a Southern thing too. Like, oh, thanks, darling. I appreciate that.
He wasn't southerning me. He was just, it was an autocorrect out of his mouth. So,
that's too funny.
I gave up my seat to a blind person on the bus. That's how I lost my job as a bus driver. A healthy sleep not only makes your life longer, but also shortens the workday. My boss told me to have a good day, so I went home. Okay, hold on. Whew. My first job was being a diesel fitter at a pantyhose factory. As they came off the line, I would hold them up and say, yeah, diesel fitter.
Oh my goodness.
Last one. Most people are shocked when they found out how incompetent I am as an electrician. On that note,
let's just jump into the big picture.
The big picture today. So, go ahead.
Smokers
versus non-smokers.
What's your opinion on that?
So we're going to preface this by saying, I believe that you're a non-smoker. I don't know.
I'm a non-smoker.
I'm a non-smoker as well. So this is two non-smokers tasher@tsbdc.com or org or something. If you have, complaints that you want to say about this, go ahead and send them over to Tyler.
And, like, I can say this too because like my dad smokes, my grandparents smoked, and I have nothing. That's your choice. What we were discussing is it fair for employees? Should they get an extra break? Because like smokers, they get a break to go outside.
So we're
and smoke.
talking in a regular
factory setting or whatever,
9 to 5, like an hourly employee job setting where you can go and take smoke breaks. I'm not sure. I've never really worked in an environment like that.
Right.
Well, it's been a long time since I worked in an environment like that. But I still got a 15-minute break, a lunch break, and when I worked in retail. So I think, can you not request a break if you are a non-smoker and you still want to? But I do.
I'm assuming you can request.
I have heard people complain about smokers in their environment that they get more breaks.
Yeah. Do you think that? To me, I feel like if you weren't, you should be able to like leave early. That would be my like. Hey, if you don't smoke. Or you don't take a break, like
we talked about this when we talked about benefits.
Yeah.
If you don't take a lunch break, do you think? I mean, is that kind of the same thing where it's like, well, I'm just gonna work my day and leave early, but I don't know that many places would say that that's a benefit that they would allow that to happen. That you could come in an hour late or leave an hour early. I think maybe we're kind of working into that more work environment where people are working from home a lot more or working in a co-working space like the Biz Foundry. I like to do the shameless plugs. Shameful. They're pretty shameful.
Oh, that's terrible.
But, so then you work in a more flexible environment and nobody's looking over your shoulder. And so those kind of things work. But one thing that is interesting is that I do work with a smoker in my job. No name dropping there. But I have a hard time then when he comes into my office and he smells like smoke. It kind of gives me a headache. It's not pleasant.
I agree. I always feel like when I went to my grandparents' house and they smoked, both of them passed away, so I can say this. I would always go and I would always have like my work clothes on.
Restaurant in peace.
Yeah. I would always have like my work clothes on, or when I left there, I knew I could go home and take a shower.
Yeah. You needed to.
I feel like I needed to, and then I feel like I need to wash my clothes afterwards because
and this is a little bit of a tangent, but men's clothes, like men's dress pants, it's a bigger production to wash men's dress clothes, correct? Like
shout out to Brett Akers for dry cleaning our stuff.
So dress shirts and ties. Like, do you wash a tie? I don't even. That's
you can
not
get it dry clean.
Okay, but do men do that? Is that a regular thing?
I don't think I've ever had one dry clean.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have to ask Brett that. I don't think I've ever had one done.
Britt Akers, if you're listening, if you want to listen to us,
leave us a comment.
Let us know.
Shout out to 1 hour modernizing.
That's right. So, what else about smokers versus non-smokers? I mean, so
do you remember like when restaurants used to have like the non-smoking versus smoking section?
And it was just so normal. It was just that's the way the world was.
I agree. And they were always like, one was in the front, one was in the back, but there aren't any like dividers.
Right.
Like it was just.
I mean, it was like, but I remember, I feel like I've talked about this just within the last 6 months, being in Kentucky and people were smoking at a Wendy's. And it was since my daughter my youngest, she was a baby at the time. We were going back up to Michigan for Christmas and I was like floored, like no one's going to stop him. He's smoking inside. And then I saw there were ashtrays, so it was legal.
Those black ones, like
No, it was those little plastic metal, like the disposable kind of ones. Yeah. But in Kentucky, where I think there's a lot of tobacco farming and stuff like that, they were like, well, it's legal here. So it was just very interesting. And then as not only an employee wise, but if you're running a business, has that been okay?
Ooh, that's a great topic. That's a great discussion. Yeah.
When it took that turn of having everything non-smoking.
Let's go further. Let's go one step further. If you have an employee that smokes, and they smoke in their own car, do you let them smoke in the company car?
Depends on what they're going to do in that company car.
I agree.
So my dad was in sales and it was his own car, but he would take like his boss or clients or people in his car. Well, that seems like it should be regulated by the business because he's putting out an image.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different thing. Can you, if you can tell people what the dress code is, can you tell them what their environment is? So can you tell them that they can't smoke in their car, or they have to keep their car clean if clients are going to be in there? Can you tell somebody how their desk and office needs to work?
Right.
Look, I've never even thought about that. Can you tell an employee that their office is too messy to meet with clients? Can you have a code of conduct for
Well,
that?
I think you would expect that employee to have a office or an environment that is welcoming to clients. I think that would be the message you would want to portray to your employees, that hey, if someone walked in here, you shouldn't have to like scramble and get things done or whatever. You should always be willing, and anybody can walk in any minute.
You shouldn't have to put your shoes back on. Which happens sometimes.
That's I'm out.
In work environments.
I think that is something that smoking, non-smoking, clean. I think you would want to have a clean environment. I feel like in my office right now, I wouldn't feel bad if you came behind me and sat down, or you got in my truck and we had to go to an appointment or whatever. That's just always how I've always been. Like, hey, you're never.
Is your front seat always open? This is.
Yeah.
It is. Oh my gosh, I'm the mom. You gotta get in my car. Let me move everything to the back.
My wife
seat.
is the same way.
It's
like
mom thing,
the
right?
kids. They clear all the stuff, and I'm like, can you not take it inside? Like when you stop and get gas, do you not like empty out 2 pounds of trash?
I do that sometimes, but I don't. My purse is always there. My work bag. Like no one's riding in my front seat, so then it's where things go. It's I don't put things in my trunk like. Probably, maybe you do. You have a truck, though.
I have a truck, yeah.
You don't even put things in the back of the truck, right?
I have a bed for a reason.
I know, but you're not, going to put your laptop back there.
No, I wouldn't.
That's going to go on your front seat.
Right? Or the back seat. I mean,
But you have children that you put in there and stuff.
Some days I do. Some days.
Yeah.
It's just, it is with kids.
Right.
Getting back on topic, I think some of that stuff is just expected. Do you think so?
I think so, but I think that you can have, I think it's okay for a business owner to have expectations of their employees. And so getting on to specifically the smoker versus non-smoker, I think that you can say, hey, you're going to have your smoke break, but I need you to freshen up if you're going to be working with customers after you come back in. I don't need our business smelling like that smells.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's, as long as you have a good you have your SOPs, I guess you could say, your standard operating procedures in line of, hey, if this is what you want to do, then you come back in. You need to
Yeah, I think that
some days I feel like that when I go to certain Mexican restaurants. I feel like I need to go change my clothes. I think that there's got to be some good, clear expectations up front, don't you?
Yeah, I think that, and that way people don't feel like they're being singled out for, specific.
Not that we're to say, hey, smoking's bad. I mean, I feel like smoking's bad, but
right.
not if you do it. That's on you. I mean, and here's the policy or whatever. Even as a small business owner, I think the best thing to do is set clear expectations up front and say, hey, this is what I need you to do.
Right.
You can have your breaks. But also, if you're the person that doesn't smoke, don't you feel like you should get to leave early if you don't take smoke breaks? Or are smoke breaks part of your breaks? I mean, I don't know. Somebody comment below if you're an attorney, lawyer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
HR,
when you're in, and that's a whole different topic. But we just talked earlier about how much productivity you have in a day. So it's like, well, do those smoke breaks really add up to mean anything versus the person who's ends up kind of like.
Yeah. And talk about productivity, the stat, NFL football game, you actually only play the game 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I think is what the actual total gameplay is out of a 2-hour game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So does that 15-minute break really, or 2 30-minute breaks really matter when it comes to certain things?
Yeah.
So you know what time it is?
It's time to drink the
Kool-Aid!
Woo-woo!
And this is a big topic that I feel like any business where you're at, maybe the chamber should do it. I don't tell me what you think about the business.
So business baby showers is what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Is what people are calling them. And so I had been at 3686, which is Launch Tennessee puts on an entrepreneurship conference festival in Nashville. And this woman was launching these business baby showers, and I've seen them in other places. And so basically the concept is that just as much as people celebrate you having a baby, a lot of people will say, my business is my baby.
My baby. Yeah. How many times have you heard that through the course of us with what we do?
Thousands.
And it really is. As someone who owned a business, it is like your second, third, fourth child. I mean, it is. You got to take care of it. You got to nurture it. You got to watch it grow.
So
it's a big deal.
The concept is that you should celebrate your business, launching a business, just as much as you celebrate a baby shower. So there's this Sex and the City episode where I don't know if you're familiar with Sex and the City, but Carrie Bradshaw is at somebody's house. She has this expensive pair of shoes. She's at a kid's birthday party. The shoes get stolen, and she's like, my shoes were stolen. And the host said, well, I'm a mother. I can't afford your fancy shoes. And she's like, but I don't have kids. I've never had a wedding shower. I've never had a baby shower. I shouldn't be penalized because of the life choices I make, which is a little bit of a tangent. But I think that just if somebody chooses to just start a business and have a business and not have children, all their other friends have invested, or you've invested into your friends' baby showers or weddings or whatever.
You should invest in their business.
And you should invest. What is the difference?
My only caveat is, and I face this in my business, is I didn't want a bad decision or a bad choice in business to ruin a long-term friendship.
And I think that it's a different concept. So I think a little bit of business baby showers is that people are registering for certain things that you can buy to help somebody launch a business. So for example, you can buy somebody 100 business cards. That's going to help them with what they need for their business. If it's a retail store, you can, buy their first 500 bags that they're going to use to sell their products. You can invest into a MailChimp subscription for a year. And so it's not specifically, hey, I'm just giving you this money, but I'm buying you a gift. And here's what the gift goes towards. And it's specific, and it's, you register for it, and then you have a party that you, just like a baby shower, and you say, hey, you're all my family and friends, and this is what I'm doing, and I want you to be a part of it. I want you to be excited about it. And there's some bad parenting decisions that happen, right? And nobody says, well, I gave you your baby swing, and now you are bottle feeding instead of breastfeeding, so you're doing the wrong thing. Nobody says that, right? I mean,
yes, I agree.
Maybe I'm on a soapbox here. Maybe I need to pipe it down a little bit. But.
No, I agree. And I think that if people invested into more of their friends' businesses, the statistic is crazy. What is it? 25% of all businesses fail within the first 5 years anyways.
I think 2/3.
Two-thirds, yeah. So if we invested more into, like you said, hey, some people don't have kids, but they may own a business. You should invest into that business. I agree. Maybe you can't do business with them per se, but you could buy them a MailChimp subscription, or maybe I'm going to say maybe buy them a roll of stamps. I don't know. I mean, I think of things that you can get them some paper and pens, or I think that there are certain things you could do to invest in their business, and even just simple things like sharing it on social media. And every time that they have stuff, you're always commenting or sharing is a help to drive traffic to their business. You're still investing in their business.
Yeah. I agree that I think but I think that if you're not in the business world, you're not an entrepreneur, you don't own your own business, you don't know the things that are valuable. And so if you're just kind of like, oh yeah, my friend's got this little thing going on, I'm sure that at some point, and I know we kind of talk about some of our closer connections a lot, but I'm sure at some point Kelly Fitzpatrick's family was like, yeah, Kelly's got this cute little jewelry business going on. And she's like, no, this is a thing. It's a big deal. And so I think that people need to understand more of what goes into that and how to support in the right way.
I think people need to learn to support it in the right way. And I think that's a great topic that kind of pushes us toward the end of this segment, is supporting that in a way of you just get them certain things. Maybe you can't do business with them. Maybe they're in the same business as your other family member or what. But you're still ways to support that business.
Well, and that's
to help it.
That's where if you end up doing kind of this party, a baby shower,
Kind of like it's kind of like a grand opening, isn't it?
Well, it's a precursor to that.
Okay.
It really would be a precursor to that because it's like, okay, I'm launching this. Here's all the things that could help me, and money's tight when you're trying to launch a business, and so it's like, okay, well, or you buy almost like a gift card to Facebook credits. You buy, things like that are going to be used that you really need. But when you're at the point where you're like, well, do I want to buy pens with my logo on it, or do I want to buy bags to sell my product? Well, I'm going to have to buy the bags to sell my product. But if you have friends and family that want to see concrete ways, I mean, how cool is that if you're like, hey, I bought those pens. Didn't I buy those pens? Like, I think just like, at least maybe this is a woman thing, but when I buy a baby gift and then I come back and I'm like, oh, I bought that toy for your kid. Like, that's cool. It's being
Or you bought them an outfit or whatever.
Yeah.
And you seem like, oh, I got that.
Yeah. And so I think that would be the same, if you buy somebody a MailChimp subscription and it would kind of, put you, give
when
you
you get them in your email and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's being used. It's being,
if
you just give them money and you just quote unquote financially invest, you don't see that. And you're like, well, what happened to it? Where'd it go? What's it doing?
If someone had a baby or a business shower here, what's the 2 things that you would buy?
I would buy, and it just in general, doesn't matter what their business is.
Doesn't matter.
I think I would buy some sort of MailChimp subscription for them, whether it's a month or 6 months or something like that, because the statistics say, which I don't know how much I believe them because I get annoyed with emails, but that's the best ROI. And that's your biggest return on investment is emails and building up your email subscription list.
What's number 2?
I would buy them a membership to the Biz Foundry so that they could network and co-work and connect with other entrepreneurs.
Somebody get her out of here. We need a new heart of this operation because...
Listen, the heart is always passionate, and I'm always looking to help
So why
people.
wouldn't you buy them some Facebook credit? Facebook marketing credit. Why wouldn't you do that?
I think I'm a little worried that Facebook is people are turned off, especially in the political seasons. People start tuning out. They, spend 2 or 3 months off Facebook and then they're like, I don't really need that anymore. So I don't know. And I mean, I'm a person that says websites maybe going
I do feel like that. Yeah.
aren't as important. So maybe Facebook, maybe I would buy them TikTok credits. The Biz Foundry just started a TikTok page. It's blowing up. TA squared blowing up your business, or TNT blowing up your business. I'm just saying. I mean, yeah.
Why wouldn't you buy them credits to advertising?
Because I feel like advertising is.
Well, yeah, but how
but
many
email,
times,
MailChimp is advertising.
But how many times have you wanted to do something as far as advertising? You're like, oh, I'm like, oh, I can't afford that.
I would buy them a billboard. How cool are billboards?
Well,
what would you buy them? What would you buy them?
I think for me, I would buy them.
Clearly marketing something.
I would buy marketing because to me, if you do it correctly, you can turn that amount of money into a lot more money, and that's what I look at because that's when you invest in something, you want it to be bigger than where you started, right? Mm-hmm. I think number 2 is I might consider getting them some type of coaching, consulting, something of that nature that's outside the box.
A membership at the Biz Foundry?
Not a membership at the Biz Foundry.
Consultations with Tyler Asher.
And by the way, our services are free. They would need something outside the box that could be holds them accountable. Because I think when you have accountability, it changes your mindset on how to make your business more successful.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a coaching session would be, I feel like, if you're kind of on a fitness journey, if somebody gets you a personal training session that kind of boosts you up and makes you feel good.
Gives you ideas on how to do things.
I think one thing with doing marketing credit is I think that seems like sexy and easy and I think everybody would probably kind of buy into that. And I kind of like the, off the beaten path a little bit.
At the end of the day,
business statistics from Tyler.
Ooh, business stats from Tyler. What percentage of small businesses in the U.S. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, what percentage of small businesses in the U.S. employ? Well, that's a terrible one. Ooh, this is good. This was in 2017. Okay, so a few years ago. Blank percentage of small businesses had a payroll of less than $100,000 annually.
Their total payroll?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
17%.
Higher.
53%.
Lower. 42%. Blank percentage of small businesses have 1 to 5 full-time or part-time employees.
Ooh, this is a good one. In the Upper Cumberland, it's way bigger. Is this a percentage, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's a percentage.
64.
46.
Whoa. I went backwards on that. I had dyslexia for a second.
Ooh, this is kind of a really interesting business statistic. Blank percentage of small businesses provide on-the-job training for their employees.
22.
Higher.
Really interesting. 52. On-the-job training.
82%.
What?
But think about it. Like, even in your role, you still got on-the-job training. You think about it. When you came in, they had a certain order how they did things. You may have developed new things. If you guys hired somebody new, you would go through the process of what you're doing. This is a good one. We're going to finish up with this one.
Last one.
Percentage of small businesses are using at least one major digital technology.
What's a major digital technology? Was that?
I'm assuming that's like sales, marketing, one item to help the digital technology. So I'm assuming like website, social media, any of that.
94.
No.
Lower?
Lower. Last guess.
72.
84.
I guess 72 a lot. That's like
That's what you go to. It's kind of like a multiple choice. We're always going to go with a B if we don't know.
Yep, that's exactly right. So.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this.
Cash in the Check, episode 7.
Make sure you like, subscribe. I don't know. Write a check to us.
Write a check. Cash the check.
Let us cash the check.
Make sure that you leave us a review if you like what we're doing. It will help us kind of get our message out there and reach the world.
Or let's go this a step further. Are there topics you want us to discuss? Make sure you leave them. We'll discuss them.
For sure. We are open to, I mean, it's well meticulously planned, but we have room for your content.
No, it's not. We change this stuff on the fly. Don't listen to her. Well, I'm Tyler Asher. I'm the brains.
I'm the heart, Tiffany Anton. Thanks to Mark and Jeff for letting us do this.
We're clocking out. We're done.